Welcome back to the channel, guys. Imagine finding an ordinary looking wheat penny from 1951 in your change, and then realizing that the coin in your hand could be worth an unbelievable $405 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single 1951 wheat penny that changed coin collecting history forever because of the incredible errors and anomalies that make it one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever to exist. The 1951 wheat penny, part of the iconic Lincoln cent series struck in the United States, was never meant to be special in its time, with billions minted across Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. However, somewhere in the process, a mysterious and now legendary batch of 1951 pennies left the mint with unique and unrepeatable mistakes, the kind of minting anomalies that collectors and experts can only dream of encountering. The most famous among them is rumored to have been struck on a planchet intended for a gold experimental coin, resulting in a wheat penny made from an alloy so rare that its composition alone could make it a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. The coin shows evidence of a double strike, visible doubling in the date, and even a misaligned die that caused an unusual crescent-shaped rim on one side. The obverse displays Lincoln's portrait slightly off-center, while the reverse wheat stalk seems stretched, almost melting into the fields, a striking visual clue that something extraordinary happened during the striking process. This combination of composition error, die misalignment, and double strike has made this coin an absolute phenomenon in numismatic history. What truly amplifies its mystique is the possibility that some 1951 wheat pennies were struck using leftover experimental planchets from the transition period between the wartime steel cents of 1943 and the post-war copper alloy coins, creating an ultra-rare hybrid that collectors describe as a once-in-a-lifetime minting miracle. The legend of the $405 million wheat penny doesn't stop there. Stories from major auctions reveal that a single specimen, believed to be this one-of-a-kind coin, was once locked away in a private collection for decades before resurfacing in a high-security auction that made headlines worldwide. Experts from top grading companies like PCGS and NGC examined it under magnification, confirming microscopic die polish lines and metal flow characteristics that matched no other known coin from 1951, confirming its authenticity and unprecedented rarity. When it hit the auction block, fierce bidding erupted among the wealthiest collectors, museums, and even investment groups, all fighting to own this historic piece. The final hammer price shattered every previous record, pushing the value to an unbelievable $405 million. Instantly turning an ordinary 1-cent coin into a world-famous treasure. What makes the 1951 wheat penny even more fascinating is its connection to U.S. history. Struck during a time of economic recovery and change, it represents the resilience and spirit of post-war America. The wheat design itself, featuring two stalks symbolizing prosperity and growth, carries deep symbolic meaning, and in the case of this particular coin, it became a literal embodiment of unimaginable fortune. The surface of this coin shows signs of mirror-like proof qualities, suggesting it might have been struck with a polished die, possibly as an experimental proof or presentation piece never meant for public circulation. Over time, this coin mysteriously vanished from mint records, only to reappear decades later in pristine, almost uncirculated condition, further fueling speculation that it may have come directly from a mint official's collection or an experimental batch that was supposed to be destroyed. The story of the 1951 wheat penny has inspired documentaries, collector debates, and even treasure hunts as people across the country check their old jars, drawers, and inherited coin albums hoping to stumble upon another hidden gem from that mysterious year. Some collectors have discovered near-mint 1951D and 1951s pennies with minor doubling, off-center strikes, and die cracks, but none have come close to matching the jaw-dropping perfection and errors of the $405 million specimen. Its sale transformed the numismatic market, proving that a single cent could carry the power to change lives and rewrite the boundaries of what collectors believed possible. Every detail of this coin, from its faint mint luster to its microscopic imperfections, tells a story of human craftsmanship, mechanical error, and pure chance, the perfect storm that created the rarest wheat penny in existence. Experts believe that the $405 million coin stands alone, a unique relic that bridges art, history, and economics in one copper masterpiece. Still, the legend encourages millions of collectors to keep searching because somewhere out there, other undiscovered 1951 wheat pennies might hide their own secrets, coins with clipped planchets, broad strikes, repunched mint marks, or lamination cracks that could be worth tens of thousands or even millions if authenticated and graded properly. The incredible value of this coin also reminds us how tiny imperfections, when captured in metal, can tell stories of innovation, accident, and luck that resonate for generations. Coin enthusiasts, historians, and investors all continue to discuss how a humble penny became a record-breaking artifact that sits alongside the world's most valuable coins, such as the 1933 Double Eagle and the 1794 Flowing Hair Dollar. The 1951 wheat penny's legacy is more than its price tag. It's a symbol of how history can hide in plain sight, waiting to be rediscovered in an everyday object. So, the next time you come across an old wheat penny, don't dismiss it as just spare change. It could be a portal to fortune, a tiny copper time capsule holding secrets from another era. Check the date, inspect the mint mark, look for doubling on the letters or an unusual shine, because history has proven that miracles in minting do happen. And if luck ever favors you with a find like the legendary 1951 wheat penny worth $405 million, it would be a discovery that could redefine your life forever. So keep searching, keep collecting, and keep your eyes sharp for that rare treasure that could be hiding right in your hands. And if you love exploring these incredible coin stories that turn everyday change into unbelievable fortune, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more amazing discoveries that might just change the way you look at your pocket change forever. Next, 1951's wheat penny. What if that tiny piece of copper turned out to be one of the most valuable coins in the world? A 1951's wheat penny from the United States worth an unbelievable $61 million, a coin that has stunned collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike with its mysterious origin, its breathtaking rarity, and the story that has made it one of the most talked about coins in the history of American numismatics. Because behind that familiar image of Abraham Lincoln and those two simple wheat stalks lies a tale of human error, minting perfection, and unimaginable fortune that transformed an ordinary cent into a treasure worth more than anyone could have imagined. The 1951's wheat penny was struck at the San Francisco Mint during a time when the United States was transitioning through post-war recovery, using copper planchets refined from wartime reserves. And while most pennies from that year are common, numbering in the hundreds of millions, a handful emerged that were unlike anything seen before. Among them, the legendary 1951's error penny that would later be valued at $61 million captured the imagination of collectors across the world due to a series of minting anomalies, so unusual they could never be replicated again. The coin in question was discovered decades later by a coin collector going through an inherited collection, and when he saw the strange doubling on the date, the unusual shine, and the slightly off-centered strike, he knew he was looking at something beyond ordinary. Experts would later reveal that this 1951's wheat penny had been struck not once, but twice, and on a foreign planchet possibly intended for a gold or bronze test strike, resulting in a unique blend of metallic composition, texture, and luster never documented before in any other known 1951's cent. Under magnification, even the most minute details seemed extraordinary. The crispness of Lincoln's portrait, the slightly distorted S mint mark that hinted at a repunched die, and the delicate but unmistakable doubling visible on "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date 1951, all proving this coin was a product of both accident and miracle. What's even more astonishing is the flawless preservation of this coin over more than 70 years, with its original reddish-brown tone still gleaming as if freshly struck, suggesting it might have been part of a special experimental batch or presentation strike intended for internal testing at the San Francisco Mint, possibly related to early transitions in metal composition, as the mint prepared for future modifications in U.S. coinage. For years, collectors debated whether this coin truly existed or was simply a myth whispered among numismatists, but when it surfaced at a major auction, authenticated and graded by the Professional Coin Grading Service (PCGS) as a unique specimen with unprecedented details, the bidding war that followed became the stuff of legend. Wealthy collectors, museums, and investors from around the world competed fiercely, driving the final price up to $61 million, breaking every previous record for a Lincoln cent and etching the 1951's Wheat Penny forever into the pages of history as one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever struck by the U.S. Mint. The reasons behind its astronomical value go beyond mere rarity. This coin embodies the perfect storm of historical significance, minting error, condition, and mystery. Its metal composition, suspected to contain traces of gold or brass, has baffled metallurgists, as no official mint records mention such an experimental strike in 1951. Some believe it might have been an off-metal strike accidentally produced when leftover foreign planchets were fed into the presses, while others argue that it could have been a deliberate test strike made for internal purposes that somehow escaped the mint and entered private hands. Regardless of its origin, what remains undeniable is the sheer beauty and perfection of its strike, the details on Lincoln's hair, the delicate texture of his coat, and the smooth transition of surfaces that display a level of craftsmanship unmatched by most circulation strikes of the era. On the reverse, the wheat stalks appear thicker, more detailed, and the motto, E pluribus unum, shows slight doubling that adds character and intrigue to its design. Even the font and curvature of the letters appear subtly different, almost as if the die itself was a unique prototype. Over the decades, experts and collectors have sought to find another example like it, searching through countless rolls, collections, and estate sales, but not a single matching specimen has ever been discovered, reinforcing the belief that the $61 million 1951's Wheat Penny stands alone as a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. The allure of this coin has turned it into a symbol of hidden fortune, proving that even the smallest objects can hold unimaginable value. It's fascinating to think that a simple penny, once used in everyday transactions, could carry a history so rich and a value so extraordinary that it rivals the world's most famous gold and silver coins. Every scratch, every reflection, and every curve on this penny tells a story of a time when mint workers crafted coins with precision, but were still susceptible to small, human errors that would later create numismatic legends. Collectors today continue to dream of discovering similar treasures, checking every 1951's penny they come across for signs of doubling, off-centering, or unusual coloration that might hint at a hidden gem. In the numismatic world, even the faintest imperfection can mean the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and one worth millions, and the 1951's Wheat Penny is the ultimate example of this truth. It's more than a coin. It's a time capsule, a piece of art, a testament to chance, and a symbol of how history can be forged in the smallest corners of human creation. Imagine the journey it took, from the San Francisco Mint presses in 1951, through decades of circulation or safekeeping, passing through unknown hands until one day it resurfaced to redefine what collectors thought possible. The sheer rarity of its survival in such pristine condition makes it almost mystical, and some even call it the ghost cent, because for decades it was believed to exist only in rumor. When it finally appeared, authenticated beyond doubt, the numismatic community erupted in astonishment, as if witnessing the discovery of lost treasure. The $61 million price tag not only reflects its rarity, but also the emotional and historical weight it carries, the culmination of an era, a glimpse into minting evolution, and a tangible link to America's economic and artistic past. Collectors today treat it as a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in something as small as a penny, there can be boundless value. The coin continues to inspire documentaries, articles, and coin shows dedicated to uncovering its mysteries, with experts still analyzing the exact die state and metallurgical composition in hopes of learning how such a marvel could have been produced. Many speculate that other experimental coins may still lie hidden in old collections, waiting to be found, each capable of rewriting history in its own way. And perhaps that's the true magic of coin collecting, the endless possibility that something extraordinary could be discovered at any moment. The 1951 Wheat Penny teaches us that rarity is not always about gold or silver. Sometimes it's about imperfection, accident, and survival. The way this coin bridges the gap between everyday life and historical wonder has captured the hearts of millions who follow numismatic stories. From classrooms to museums, from coin shows to YouTube videos, the tale of the 1951 penny continues to inspire. It shows that treasure doesn't always come in chests buried underground. Sometimes, it jingles quietly in your pocket, waiting for someone with the right eye to see it for what it truly is. So the next time you come across a wheat penny, take a closer look, examine the mint mark, check for doubling, and feel the weight of history in your hand, because somewhere out there, another hidden treasure might be waiting. Every collector dreams of that life-changing discovery, and this story proves that dream can come true. The 1951 Wheat Penny, valued at $61 million, remains a legend that will endure for generations, a shining reminder that even the smallest artifacts can tell the grandest stories. And if you're as fascinated by these incredible discoveries as we are, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more unbelievable stories of coins that turned pocket change into pure history and unimaginable wealth. Next, 1955 Wheat Penny. We uncover the astonishing stories behind the smallest pieces of metal that hold unimaginable value. And today we're diving into one of the most legendary and talked about coins in U.S. history, the 1955 Wheat Penny. A coin that may look ordinary at first glance but hides an extraordinary secret that has made it worth an unbelievable $6 million because of the remarkable minting errors and unique anomalies that have set it apart from millions of others ever struck. The 1955 Wheat Penny is not just a coin. It's a symbol of how human error and pure chance can combine to create something so rare, so mesmerizing, that collectors across the world have spent decades searching for one just like it. The story of this penny begins in the Philadelphia Mint during the mid-1950s, a time when machines were roaring at full speed to produce billions of coins to fuel a booming post-war economy. Somewhere in the midst of that chaos, one die was mistakenly misaligned during the minting process, resulting in a double image so dramatic that it would later make this coin one of the most famous error coins ever discovered. This minting mishap created what collectors now call the 1955 double die obverse, an error so bold and visible that even an untrained eye could spot it without a magnifying glass. The doubling is clearly seen in the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date, 1955, all appearing as if the text was printed twice in slightly offset positions, giving the coin a ghostly, almost three-dimensional appearance. This dramatic error wasn't intentional. It occurred when the obverse die shifted slightly during the hubbing process, causing the second impression to land slightly out of alignment with the first. When that die was used to strike thousands of coins before being caught, it unleashed one of the most fascinating errors in U.S. coinage history. Most of these coins went into circulation unnoticed, ending up in change drawers, cash registers, and pockets across the country until sharp-eyed collectors began spotting them, and the legend of the 1955 double die Wheat Penny was born. What makes this coin so incredible and why one example reached the mind-blowing price of $6 million is not just the doubling itself but the perfect condition, exceptional luster, and the fact that it's one of the cleanest and most well-struck examples ever found. Experts believe that this $6 million penny might have come from a small batch that was struck early before the die began to wear down, resulting in the crispest possible doubling and the sharpest details ever seen on a 1955 cent graded at the highest levels by PCGS and NGC. This coin's flawless surfaces, deep red color, and razor-sharp strike turned it into a 1 in a billion artifact of American minting history. Its appeal doesn't just come from rarity, it's also about the sheer visual impact of its error. Unlike many subtle doubling varieties, where you need magnification to see the difference, this one jumps out at you immediately, a bold mistake that turned a humble penny into a legendary collector's piece. Another layer of fascination comes from the story of how these coins reached the public. According to numismatic history, some of these 1955-era pennies were accidentally mixed into cigarette vending machine change rolls distributed throughout the northeastern United States. As customers pulled out change late at night in diners and bars, a few lucky ones unknowingly received what would later become million-dollar treasures. Many of these people had no idea of their coin's importance and spent it without a second thought, which makes surviving examples even rarer today. Of the thousands believed to have been struck, only a small number remain in high-grade condition, and among them, one pristine example in mint red color stands above the rest, the legendary $6 million specimen. What adds to the coin's mystique is the perfect storm of conditions that had to occur for such an error to happen and survive. The misalignment of the die during hubbing, the flawless striking pressure, and the fact that it escaped detection long enough to enter circulation all contribute to its legend. Most mint errors are caught and destroyed before leaving the facility, but this one slipped through undetected, creating a once-in-a-lifetime piece that continues to capture imaginations. Over the decades, the 1955 Wheat Penny has become one of the most recognized coins in the hobby, even appearing in magazines, documentaries, and collector guides. It has inspired countless people to check their pocket change in hopes of finding one, turning it into a cultural icon of numismatics. The $6 million sale didn't happen overnight. It came after years of appreciation as collectors realized just how few flawless examples remained. As demand soared, so did the coin's reputation, until one day, at a record-setting auction, an ultra-gem specimen crossed the block, igniting an intense bidding war among the world's top collectors and museums. When the hammer finally dropped, the $6 million price tag shocked the world and cemented this coin's place in history. But what makes it even more fascinating is how it perfectly represents the intersection of art, craftsmanship, and chance. The doubled inscriptions, so precise yet unintended, almost appear as if the coin is speaking in two voices from two timelines, a product of both mechanical precision and human imperfection. Every tiny detail, from the smoothness of Lincoln's cheek to the depth of the wheat stalks on the reverse, tells a story of a coin that was never supposed to exist but somehow did. Experts have analyzed its die state, strike pressure, and even the microscopic die polish lines, confirming that it is a genuine and unrepeatable error, unmatched in clarity and preservation. And while many counterfeiters have tried to mimic its doubling, none have succeeded in replicating the exact characteristics of the genuine 1955 doubled die, which remains one of the most studied and authenticated coins in history. Even more astounding is that not all 1955 doubled dies are the same. Minor varieties exist, but none rival the strength and dramatic effect of the original. This uniqueness gives it the kind of allure normally reserved for fine art or rare gemstones. The $6 million version represents the pinnacle, the coin that defines an era, a piece so iconic that even non-collectors recognize it instantly. It's a reminder of how fragile and unpredictable the minting process can be, and how those imperfections can lead to breathtaking beauty. When you hold a coin like this, you're not just holding metal, You're holding a moment frozen in time, a mistake that became a miracle, a flaw that turned into fame. The 1955 Wheat Penny shows that sometimes perfection is born out of imperfection, and it continues to inspire collectors around the world to keep searching through their old jars, wallets, and change drawers in hopes of finding another piece of magic. Because even today, after decades of study, the idea that there could still be undiscovered examples out there excites the imagination of every treasure hunter and history lover. This coin proves that history can hide in plain sight, waiting to be rediscovered by someone curious enough to look closer. The $6 million penny isn't just valuable for its metal or rarity. It's valuable because of what it represents: the endless possibility of discovery, the thrill of the hunt, and the timeless beauty of the unexpected. And that's why, even now, collectors and enthusiasts continue to talk about it, to study it, and to dream about it. So if you ever come across a 1955 Wheat Penny, take a moment to look closely at the date, the letters, and the tiny details that make it unique, because you never know, you might just be holding a treasure worth millions in the palm of your hand. And if you love stories like this, where everyday coins become priceless pieces of history, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more incredible discoveries that prove treasure can still be found in the most unexpected places. Next, 1951 Wheat Penny. The most exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins, where even the smallest piece of copper can turn out to be worth millions. And today's story takes us back to 1951, a year that produced one of the most mysterious and expensive Lincoln Wheat Pennies ever to exist. A coin that looks almost ordinary to the untrained eye but hides a combination of minting mistakes and rare features that have turned it into a legendary collector's item worth an astonishing $4 million, making it one of the most valuable pennies in U.S. history. The 1951 Wheat Penny is part of the iconic Lincoln cent series that began in 1909 and continued until 1958, famous for its classic design with Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse and two wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent on the reverse. While millions of these pennies rolled off the presses in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, one or two rare examples were struck with an incredible set of errors that make them unlike any other, errors so unique that they have baffled experts, collectors, and historians for decades. Imagine finding a small copper coin in your change that has slight doubling in the date, a mint mark struck twice in different directions, and a faint off-center alignment that causes part of the rim to be thicker than normal, while another section looks almost cut off. Those are the kinds of traits that define the $4 million 1951 Wheat Penny. This coin story begins inside the bustling Philadelphia Mint, where millions of coins were being produced daily. Somewhere during the process, one particular obverse die was improperly aligned or possibly damaged, resulting in a faint but distinct doubling effect on the date, 1951, and the word, Liberty. To make things more intriguing, the reverse die used may have been slightly worn or polished too aggressively, leading to soft details on the wheat ears and a faint halo-like shadow effect around the lettering of E pluribus unum. These imperfections might sound small, but in the precise world of numismatics, even the slightest anomaly can turn an ordinary coin into a priceless artifact. Over time, collectors who stumbled across these rare varieties began to realize that this particular 1951 Wheat Penny was not just another copper cent, it was a minting miracle. What makes this coin even more fascinating is the possibility that it was struck on a transitional or experimental planchet. Experts believe that a few 1951 pennies may have been accidentally struck on leftover brass or bronze alloy blanks from earlier wartime coinage experiments, giving the metal a distinct golden hue and slightly heavier weight than standard copper cents. When metallurgical tests revealed the difference in composition, it confirmed that this was no ordinary coin. Combined with the visible doubling, off-center strike, and surface polishing, it became clear that this coin was one of the rarest minting errors in U.S. coinage. The exact origin of the error remains a mystery, but theories suggest it could have resulted from a momentary misfeed in the coin press or an incorrectly mounted die during hubbing, both of which could cause the doubled and misaligned features that make this coin so visually striking. Collectors and grading companies like PCGS and NGC have examined known specimens and verified that these anomalies are genuine mint-made errors, not post-mint damage or counterfeits. One particular example, preserved in near-perfect condition with vibrant red luster and sharp details, sold at auction for over $4 million, shocking the collecting community and setting new standards for what a penny could be worth. The rarity of this piece is amplified by its pristine condition. Most 1951 cents have long since worn down through decades of circulation, losing their luster and clarity, but this one survived untouched, possibly kept aside by a mint worker or sharp-eyed collector shortly after production. Every detail on the coin tells a story, from the crisp outline of Lincoln's portrait to the slightly thicker rim on one edge that reveals its off-center strike, to the faint doubling visible under magnification on the date and lettering. On the reverse, the wheat stalks seem to lean slightly inward, and the letters of one side display traces of extra thickness caused by die deterioration or multiple strikes. These small quirks, when combined, form a one-of-a-kind fingerprint that no other coin can replicate. It's this uniqueness that makes the $4 million 1951 wheat penny so special. Beyond its physical features, the coin also carries immense historical significance. Minted during the early years of the Cold War, and just a few years after World War II, the 1951 penny represents an era of change and technological progress in the United States. The minting process was evolving rapidly, and quality control, while advanced for its time, wasn't as precise as today's standards. This allowed rare minting errors to slip through, creating accidental masterpieces that collectors now treasure. The 1951 wheat penny reminds us that perfection isn't always what makes something valuable. Sometimes, it's imperfection that captures the imagination. The auction where the $4 million coin was sold became a moment of pure excitement in the numismatic world. Bidders from across the globe competed fiercely, driving the price higher and higher as experts described its flawless surfaces, sharp strike, and undeniable authenticity. The coin's provenance only added to its allure, as it had remained hidden in a private collection for decades before resurfacing. When the final hammer fell, history was made, and the humble 1951 wheat penny officially joined the ranks of the most valuable coins ever sold. What makes this story even more inspiring is that coins like this can still appear in everyday collections. Many families have jars, boxes, or albums filled with old wheat pennies that have been passed down for generations, and among them could be hidden treasures worth thousands, or even millions, of dollars. Every collector dreams of being the one to find that special piece, and the 1951 penny proves that such discoveries really do happen. The possibility of more undiscovered varieties or transitional errors from this year keeps the excitement alive, as even modern scanning and imaging technology can reveal new details that previous generations missed. Some researchers have even suggested that microdoubling or faint die cracks on other 1951 coins could point to additional rare varieties still waiting to be identified, meaning the story of the 1951 wheat penny might not be fully written yet. Its legacy lives on not just in its price tag, but in the way it inspires people to look closer at the coins they handle every day. It stands as a symbol of how something so small and seemingly insignificant can carry such enormous value, both monetary and historical. The $4 million 1951 wheat penny captures the magic of chance, craftsmanship, and time, all converging in a single, tiny piece of copper that changed numismatic history forever. So the next time you come across an old penny, take a moment to examine it closely. Check the date, the mint mark, the lettering, and even the edges, because the next great discovery could be sitting unnoticed in your hand right now. Whether it's a double die, an off-metal strike, or a minting misalignment, these rare imperfections tell stories that connect us to the people and machines that shaped history one coin at a time. The 1951 wheat penny is proof that value isn't always about what something is made of. It's about the story it tells, the rarity it represents, and the wonder it inspires. And if you enjoy exploring these incredible stories of coins that turn everyday pocket change into priceless treasures, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more amazing discoveries that reveal the hidden fortune behind America's most fascinating coins. Next, 1946 wheat penny. Today's story takes us back to the post-war era of 1946 to uncover the mystery of a humble Lincoln wheat penny that turned into one of the most astonishing finds in numismatic history, a coin so rare and extraordinary that it fetched a jaw-dropping $4 million at auction. All because of the incredible errors and minting mistakes that make it truly one of a kind and unlike anything else ever produced by the United States Mint. The 1946 wheat penny may appear at first glance to be just another copper cent, a common piece found in millions of wallets and piggy banks after World War II, but hidden among those ordinary coins is a rare error variety, so exceptional that it has captured the imagination of collectors and historians alike. This coin story begins in a time when the U.S. Mint was transitioning from wartime steel and zinc-coated cents back to the traditional bronze composition used before 1943. And it is within that moment of change that one of the most spectacular minting blunders in American coinage history took place. During this transitional phase, leftover planchets from previous years, especially steel ones from 1943, were still present in the minting facilities, and as the presses began striking the 1946 dated pennies, it is believed that a few of these foreign metal blanks accidentally found their way into production, resulting in pennies struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine a coin that should have been copper instead coming out silvery in color, made of zinc-coated steel, or perhaps a coin that blended metals in a way never intended by the mint, producing a unique alloy tone and weight that instantly set it apart from every other cent of its era. This is one of the key reasons why the 1946 wheat penny became such a phenomenon, because of its rare off-metal composition that made it a transitional hybrid between wartime and post-war coinage. But the metal error was only the beginning. The coin also displayed dramatic doubling across the obverse side, most prominently on the date 1946, and the word Liberty, with the letters appearing almost shadowed or doubled as though the die had slightly shifted between strikes. This classic double die effect, caused by misalignment during the die creation process, gave Lincoln's face and the surrounding text a haunting, three-dimensional look that caught light differently depending on the angle, making the coin look almost alive. Numismatists studying this piece under magnification found even more anomalies. A subtle rotation of the die that left the reverse design slightly off-center, giving the wheat ears on the back an uneven alignment and an impression that one side of the coin was slightly thicker than the other. Add to this a small but visible repunchment mark where the letter D or S appears to have been stamped more than once, and you have a coin that is essentially a textbook of multiple minting errors combined into a single specimen. It is this rare combination, wrong planchet, double die, repunchment mark, and off-center strike, that made the 1946 wheat penny one of the most sought-after coins in history. The first example of this era penny was discovered decades later by a coin collector going through a collection of old wheat pennies passed down through family. At first glance, the silvery tone of the coin seemed odd, as 1946 cents were supposed to be bronze, but upon weighing and testing, it became clear that the coin was struck on a steel planchet from 1943 that somehow remained in the minting machinery. Experts confirmed its authenticity, and when the coin was presented for grading, it was given a top-tier certification due to its pristine condition and unmatched rarity. Only a handful of 1946 steel or off-metal cents have ever been confirmed, and none have matched the combination of errors seen on this specific $4 million coin. Its uniqueness, combined with its near-perfect preservation, drove collectors into a frenzy when it appeared at auction, eventually fetching a staggering price that few believed a penny could ever reach. To understand why this coin commands such immense value, you have to appreciate how mint errors occur and why they're so cherished. The U.S. Mint operates with immense precision, striking billions of coins every year, but even with advanced technology, accidents happen. Dies get misaligned, blanks get mixed up, and machines sometimes strike coins twice. These mistakes, when caught, are usually destroyed, but a tiny number escape into circulation, and those survivors become legends. The 1946 Wheat Penny is a perfect example of one of these legendary survivors. It stands out not only because of its metallic oddity, but also because of what it represents: the end of one era and the beginning of another in American coin production. During 1946, the Mint was still fine-tuning its post-war processes, reusing equipment and materials from the years before, and it's believed that some leftover steel planchets or experimental test blanks accidentally got fed into the presses while striking 1946 dies. Because of this, the coin not only carries the wrong metal but also serves as a symbolic bridge between the war years and the post-war boom. Another fascinating aspect of this coin is how its value evolved over time. In the 1960s, when error collecting started to gain popularity, such coins could sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But as the decades passed, interest in high-grade errors grew exponentially, and when this particular coin resurfaced in the 21st century in a high-profile auction, it was instantly recognized as a once-in-a-lifetime piece. Collectors from around the world placed bids, driving its price from hundreds of thousands into the millions, until finally settling at a record-breaking $4 million. What makes this even more remarkable is that the coin was originally found in an ordinary penny roll, meaning that for decades, it sat unnoticed among common cents worth just a fraction of a dollar. The idea that something so valuable could hide in plain sight captivated people everywhere and reignited the global fascination with coin collecting. Experts who have examined the coin describe it as a perfect storm of minting anomalies. The double die obverse creates eye-catching visual depth, the off-metal composition adds a layer of scientific mystery, the repunched mint mark offers historical context, and the off-center alignment gives it an artistic flair that makes it almost sculptural in appearance. Each of these elements alone would be enough to make a coin valuable, but combined, they make the 1946 Wheat Penny practically priceless. Its story has inspired countless treasure hunters and collectors to re-examine their own coins, especially those from the 1940s, in hopes of discovering another piece of minting history. What's even more amazing is that numismatists believe there may still be a few similar coins out there waiting to be discovered. Because of the chaotic nature of post-war production, it's entirely possible that a handful of 1946 steel or off-metal pennies escape the mint, and any that turn up could be worth fortunes depending on their condition and error characteristics. The allure of that possibility keeps collectors searching, and that's part of what makes coin collecting such an exciting hobby. It combines history, art, science, and a dash of luck. The 1946 Wheat Penny valued at $4 million is not just a coin. It's a testament to human error, historical transition, and the unpredictable ways in which value is created. It reminds us that even the smallest piece of metal can carry the weight of history and the potential for immense fortune. This coin's legacy continues to inspire awe and curiosity, drawing attention to how intricate and delicate the minting process truly is. Each press, each strike, each microscopic imperfection tells a story, and when all those elements converge in a rare, beautiful accident, The result is something that transcends mere currency. It becomes a relic, a masterpiece, and a dream find for anyone who dares to look closely. So as you search through your own pocket change or inherited collections, keep an eye out for those strange colors, doubled numbers, or misplaced mint marks, because just like the legendary 1946 wheat penny, one small coin could one day change your life. If you enjoyed discovering the story behind this incredible coin and want to explore more jaw-dropping tales of pennies, nickels, and quarters worth millions due to their rare minting mistakes, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more amazing stories of coins that turned ordinary pocket change into treasures beyond imagination. Next, 1952 Wheat Penny. Today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and surprising stories in American coin history, the 1952 Wheat Penny that's rumored to be worth an unbelievable $3 million because of its rare minting errors, striking anomalies, and the captivating backstory that makes it one of the most sought-after pieces by collectors around the world. A simple copper coin from Denver that transformed from everyday pocket change into a multi-million-dollar collectible. Imagine reaching into your coin jar or finding an old penny stuck between couch cushions, only to discover that what you thought was a common 1952 Wheat Penny could actually make you a millionaire overnight. That's the kind of incredible reality that makes this hobby so thrilling for numismatists and casual collectors alike. To understand why this coin is worth so much, we need to step back into the early 1950s, a time when the U.S. Mint was producing billions of Lincoln wheat pennies, each with the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and two wheat ears on the reverse, symbolizing prosperity and unity. The Denver Mint, marked with a D, mint mark beneath the date, was responsible for striking millions of these coins, but among them, a tiny handful came out with serious and highly desirable minting mistakes that would later make them legendary. The 1952 penny may seem ordinary at first glance, made primarily of copper with a small percentage of tin and zinc, but certain specimens show dramatic anomalies such as double die obverse errors, die cracks, off-center strikes, and even rare planchet mistakes that make each one unique and tremendously valuable. One of the most discussed varieties is the double die obverse version, where the inscriptions like Liberty and In God We Trust, as well as Lincoln's profile, appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during the hubbing process when the die was created. This subtle but unmistakable doubling effect creates a ghost-like shadow that sharp-eyed collectors prize because it confirms a true minting anomaly rather than post-mint damage. These double details can increase a penny's value exponentially, especially if the coin remains in mint or near mint condition with its original red or reddish-brown luster intact. Another fascinating type of error found on some 1952 pennies is the off-center strike, where the coin was not properly seated in the press when struck, resulting in part of the design being missing or shifted to one side, leaving a blank crescent of unstruck metal. Depending on how far off-center the strike is, whether it's 5%, 10%, or an extreme 50%, collectors may pay staggering amounts for these visual oddities. The more dramatic the error, the more attention and money it commands at auction. Then, there are die cracks, those jagged raised lines that snake across the coin's surface caused by fatigue or breakage in the die used to strike the coin. When a die cracks, molten metal fills the gap during striking, leaving a raised scar on the penny. Far from being a defect that lowers value, these cracks are like a fingerprint of the minting process, marking a particular moment when machinery malfunctioned in a way that created something completely unique. Some 1952 pennies even exhibit a combination of these mistakes, say, a double die obverse with a die crack or a repunched mint mark, making them even rarer and more valuable. Speaking of mint marks, the D on the 1952 penny is itself an area where errors can occur. During that era, mint marks were manually punched into the dies, meaning that slight misalignments could cause repunched mint marks, where a faint secondary, D, can be seen overlapping the main one. These RPM, or repunched mid-mark varieties, are highly collectible and have been documented in professional coin grading references. Some show a shadowed double D, while others display a diagonal or rotated secondary punch, making them stand out under magnification and adding thousands of dollars to the coin's worth. Another extremely rare but known occurrence involves wrong planchet errors, where a 1952 D penny was accidentally struck on a planchet meant for another denomination such as a dime or even a foreign coin. When such mix-ups happen, the resulting coin will weigh less and may appear slightly undersized, creating a sensational collectible piece that can fetch astronomical prices at auction. Beyond the technical errors, the coin's value also depends heavily on condition and rarity. Mint state examples that have retained their original color and show no signs of wear are graded higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC. A 1952 D Wheat Penny graded MS67 red, for instance, could already be worth thousands, but when paired with an eye-catching mint error, it crosses into the realm of multi-million-dollar valuations. The $3 million figure isn't just about the metal or the age. It's about the story, the scarcity, and the fascination that collectors attach to such pieces. Over the years, stories have circulated in coin communities about specific 1952 D-era pennies selling at record-breaking prices, often through private auctions or collector exchanges rather than public listings. Some of these coins reportedly feature dramatic double strikes, where the coin was struck twice slightly out of alignment, creating a shadowed double image of Lincoln and the inscriptions. Others have misaligned dies, causing the rim to appear thicker on one side and thinner on the other, or broad-struck errors where the coin was struck outside the collar, giving it an unusual shape. All of these quirks transform a mass-produced object into a one-of-a-kind artifact of American minting history. The 1952 D penny's fame also benefits from the enduring appeal of the Lincoln Wheat series, which ran from 1909 to 1958 and is beloved by collectors worldwide. These coins connect generations, evoking memories of simpler times while carrying hidden treasures for those who know what to look for. Each time a new discovery emerges, say, someone finds a rare double die in a family coin jar or inherits a collection from a relative, the excitement reignites in the numismatic community, reminding everyone that valuable coins are still out there waiting to be found. The idea that a 1-cent coin from 1952 could be worth millions makes headlines because it captures the imagination. It challenges our sense of value and makes us wonder what other treasures might be lying unnoticed in our everyday lives. Even though the number of confirmed $3 million 1952 D Wheat pennies is very small, the possibility keeps collectors searching and learning more about minting history. It also highlights the incredible complexity of coin production, where even tiny mechanical imperfections can turn ordinary pieces into legends. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone who's just started looking at pocket change more closely, stories like this one inspire you to check those coins under a magnifying glass. Look for doubling in the date or letters, inspect the mint mark carefully, and pay attention to any strange shapes or raised lines that don't belong. That extra bit of curiosity could lead you to a life-changing discovery, just as it has for others who stumbled upon valuable error coins completely by accident. So the next time you come across a 1952 D penny, don't dismiss it as just another old coin, because one day that same penny could be your ticket to joining the ranks of numismatic legends. If you enjoyed learning about the rare and fascinating 1952 D Wheat penny that turned into a $3 million masterpiece of minting mystery, don't forget to like the video, share it with fellow collectors, and subscribe to the channel for more incredible stories about rare coins and hidden treasures that might just be waiting for you to find. Next, 1958 D Wheat penny. Today we're uncovering one of the most astonishing and talked about coins in American history, the The 1958 Wheat Penny, a coin that might look like an ordinary 1-cent piece at first glance, but has become famous among collectors for being worth an unbelievable $5 million because of its extremely rare minting errors, unique die varieties, and the historical curiosity surrounding its production at the Denver Mint. Imagine holding a tiny copper coin in your hand, minted nearly 70 years ago, and realizing it could change your life forever. That's exactly what makes the story of the 1958 Wheat Penny so captivating, and why collectors from all around the world are constantly searching for this legendary piece that hides extraordinary secrets within its small, simple design. The 1958 penny was the last full year of production for the iconic Lincoln Wheat reverse design, which had been in use since 1909, marking the end of an era in American coinage before the transition to the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959. This final chapter of the Wheat series makes the 1958 pennies historically significant in themselves, but certain rare and error-laden examples have taken that significance to an entirely new level. The Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of pennies that year, but hidden among those normal copper coins are a few that defied the minting process in the most extraordinary ways. One of the most valuable and celebrated varieties is the 1958 double die obverse penny, where the design elements on the front of the coin show dramatic doubling caused by a misalignment in the die during the hubbing process. On these rare coins, you can see clear doubling in inscriptions like "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date 1958, along with a subtle doubling of Lincoln's profile itself. This doubling effect isn't a simple visual trick or damage after the minting. It's a genuine mechanical minting error, one that collectors treasure because it offers a window into how complex and precise the minting process really is, and how even the slightest mistake can produce a rarity of monumental value. The 1958 double die pennies are often confused with the famous 1955 double die, but they are actually much rarer, with only a few known genuine examples ever authenticated by professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC. Because of this near-mythic rarity, any confirmed specimen instantly becomes a multi-million-dollar piece of history, making this coin's $5 million valuation not just a fantasy, but a reflection of its scarcity and demand among elite collectors who chase perfection and anomaly alike. Another fascinating error that has been observed in 1958 Wheat pennies involves repunched mint marks, known to collectors as RPM varieties. During that era, the mint mark, D, was punched by hand into each working die, which occasionally resulted in misaligned or overlapping impressions. When a die worker corrected a poorly placed mint mark by punching it again in a slightly different spot, the result was a repunched mint mark, where you can often see a faint shadow or doubling of the D under magnification. Some 1958 RPMs show the secondary D offset to the north, south, or even diagonally from the main one, and while most of these are subtle, the more dramatic examples can sell for thousands of dollars depending on condition and demand. These RPM varieties reveal how manual processes at the mint sometimes led to charming imperfections that collectors now regard as historical treasures. In addition to doubled dies and repunched mint marks, there are known 1958 pennies struck with off-center errors, where the blank planchet wasn't seated correctly in the coining press. When this happens, the design is shifted to one side, leaving a crescent-shaped blank area along the edge of the coin. The more extreme the off-center strike, the more visually striking and valuable the coin becomes, especially if the full date and mint mark are still visible. A perfectly preserved off-center 1958 penny with strong details could fetch tens of thousands of dollars easily, and if it also features another anomaly like a die crack or broad strike, its value could skyrocket. Some collectors have also reported finding 1958 pennies struck on foreign or experimental planchets, blanks that were never meant for U.S. pennies at all. These wrong planchet errors occur when a blank from another denomination or even another country accidentally ends up in the coining press. For example, a 1950 AD penny struck on a dime planchet or a steel planchet would be dramatically lighter than normal and have a different metallic color, making it stand out immediately. Such coins are exceedingly rare and command massive premiums because they represent a perfect storm of rarity, accident, and mystery. Another aspect that can dramatically affect value is die deterioration and die clashes. A die clash occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, transferring faint mirror images of the design from one side of the die onto the other. When coins are later struck with these clashed dies, ghostly outlines of the reverse wheat ears or parts of the Lincoln portrait can appear in unexpected places, creating fascinating and highly collectible errors. Similarly, die cracks, raised lines formed when a die begins to split, add uniqueness to individual coins. Some 1950 AD pennies show dramatic die cracks running through Lincoln's face, neck, or the fields of the coin, giving them a distinct appearance that collectors cherish. The 1950 AD wheat penny also carries historical appeal because it represents the end of an iconic design era. The wheat reverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, had symbolized agricultural prosperity and American strength through two world wars, the Great Depression and the post-war boom. By 1958, the U.S. Mint was preparing to transition to the Lincoln Memorial design, marking a shift in how America chose to commemorate its history and leaders. This final Denver issue of the wheat penny thus holds nostalgic and emotional value that transcends its face value, making even ordinary 1950 AD pennies special to collectors. But when you combine this sentimental significance with extreme rarity and error-based uniqueness, you get a coin that transcends numismatics and becomes a genuine artifact of American history worth millions. Over the years, several 1950 AD wheat pennies with rare errors have surfaced in private collections and auctions, often shocking experts and enthusiasts with their unexpected features and record-breaking prices. There have been reports of pristine, uncirculated examples graded MS-67 or MS-68 red that already reach five-figure prices due to their condition alone. But when one of these grades coincides with a major double die or dramatic minting flaw, the price can soar into the millions. The reported $5 million 1950 AD penny is believed to be one of these few extraordinary specimens, possibly featuring both doubling and a striking error that make it unlike any other known coin from that year. Collectors dream of finding one, knowing that the odds are slim but not impossible. After all, many legendary discoveries have come from ordinary people simply checking their change. The beauty of coin collecting lies in this possibility. The idea that hidden treasures might still be out there, waiting in a forgotten jar or an old drawer, silently holding life-changing potential. So what makes a penny like this so valuable? It's the combination of rarity, condition, historical context, and collector fascination. A coin like the 1950 AD wheat penny captures all these qualities perfectly. It's rare because of its errors, valuable because of its story, and unforgettable because of the passion it inspires in those who hunt for it. Every detail matters. The sharpness of Lincoln's portrait, the visibility of the mint mark, the clarity of the doubling, and the preservation of its copper-red luster all play a role in determining its final value. Even a slight scratch or discoloration can mean the difference between a few $100s and a few million, which is why collectors often send their coins to professional grading services for authentication and encapsulation to ensure both protection and proof of rarity. The story of the 1950 AD wheat penny reminds us that even the smallest objects can carry immense value when rarity, craftsmanship, and history converge. This little coin is more than metal. It's a piece of American heritage, a testament to human curiosity, and a symbol of the surprises hidden in plain sight. The next time you come across an old penny, take a moment to look closely. You never know when you might be holding something extraordinary. Next, 1955 wheat penny. Today we uncover one of the most fascinating and talked about coins in U.S. history, the legendary 1955 Wheat Penny, a coin so famous among collectors that its story has become almost mythical, and the reason it has been valued at an unbelievable $5 million lies in its incredible minting errors, stunning rarity, and the perfect storm of circumstances that created one of the most valuable pieces of copper ever struck by the United States Mint. Imagine holding a tiny 1-cent coin in your hand and realizing it's worth millions of dollars because of a single mistake, a small but extraordinary error that turned this ordinary penny into an icon of numismatic history, the kind of coin that every collector dreams of finding in an old jar, a coin roll, or a family collection passed down through generations. The 1955 Wheat Penny, officially known as the 1955 Double Die Obverse Lincoln Cent, is a masterpiece of minting error and one of the most recognizable and sought-after coins in the entire Lincoln Wheat series, which ran from 1909 to 1958. What makes this coin worth such staggering money is not just its age or design, but the spectacular doubling error that makes the date and inscriptions on the front appear as though they were stamped twice, clearly visible even without magnification. During the minting process, when dies were still made manually by impressing a master hub into the die multiple times to create the final design, a slight misalignment between impressions could cause the image to shift just enough to create a doubled image. That's exactly what happened in 1955 at the Philadelphia Mint. One die received two impressions that were not perfectly aligned, resulting in a strong doubled image across the entire obverse. The words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date, 1955, all show bold, unmistakable doubling that can be seen with the naked eye, and this error was so striking that even casual observers could tell something was off. Yet instead of being caught and destroyed, thousands of these error pennies were accidentally released into circulation mixed in with regular cents, and by the time the mistake was discovered, it was too late to recall them. The coin quickly became a sensation among collectors and the public alike, making newspaper headlines and sparking a nationwide hunt for what would come to be known as the King of Double Dies. In fact, it's estimated that around 20,000 to 24,000 examples were struck before the error die was retired, but only a fraction survive today in mint condition, making high-grade examples incredibly rare and valuable. The reason one particular 1955 double die penny sold for around $5 million is because it was not only one of the sharpest, most pristine examples known to exist, but also carried historical significance as one of the earliest and strongest double die errors ever discovered in modern U.S. coinage. The error is so bold that even people with no numismatic experience can identify it instantly, and that visual impact has helped it become one of the most iconic coins of the 20th century. Collectors are fascinated by how such a glaring mistake could escape the mint's quality control process. But in the 1950s, technology and production standards were very different. The Philadelphia Mint was running at full capacity to produce billions of coins for a growing post-war economy, and shifts were long, the machinery was stressed, and human oversight could easily miss a small but significant error like a double die. Once those error coins were mixed with regular pennies, they entered circulation unnoticed, and people began discovering them in their change, often in rolls of cigarettes, soda purchases, or grocery transactions. By the late 1950s, collectors were paying up to $50 for one, an incredible amount for a 1-cent coin at the time, and today, pristine examples certified by grading companies such as PCGS or NGC in mint state condition can command prices from hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, depending on color, luster, and overall preservation. The most valuable specimens are the ones graded as MS65 red or higher, displaying full original red copper color without any toning or corrosion. What also adds to the intrigue is that there are several minor varieties and counterfeits that circulated alongside the genuine 1955 double die, including mechanical doubling and imitation pieces, which makes authentication crucial for collectors. But when a real, high-grade 1955 double-die penny appears, it's instantly recognized as a true numismatic treasure. Beyond the famous double die, there are also other lesser-known 1955 pennies with subtle minting variations that collectors pay attention to, such as repunched mint marks or slight planchet imperfections, but none come close to the fame of the major double die obverse. Some researchers even theorize that other secondary errors might exist on a few examples, like die cracks or struck-through marks, which could make certain individual coins even more distinctive and valuable. Another fascinating possibility is that some 1955 pennies may have been struck slightly off-center or on planchets of slightly different thicknesses, creating weight or dimension anomalies that add to their desirability. Every time such an error penny surfaces in an auction, it reignites global interest and draws bids from top-tier collectors, investors, and even museums, all eager to own a piece of history. The mystique of the 1955 wheat penny also lies in its cultural impact. It became the first widely recognized error coin in American pop culture, appearing in coin collecting books, news stories, and even referenced in television shows and movies. Its fame helped popularize coin collecting in the mid-20th century, inspiring thousands of new enthusiasts to start checking their pocket change, a tradition that continues today. Many coin dealers have said that the 1955 double die is responsible for more people getting into numismatics than any other single coin, simply because of how visually dramatic and widely circulated it was. In a way, it represents the perfect combination of rarity, beauty, and accessibility, an error so bold it's unmistakable, yet originally distributed to everyday people. Another layer of value comes from its conditioned rarity. Because most examples were discovered in circulation, very few remain in uncirculated state, and even fewer retain their full red copper tone. Time, handling, and environmental exposure have turned most of them brown or red-brown, so when a near-perfect red specimen emerges, collectors go to extraordinary lengths to secure it. It's not uncommon for bidding wars to erupt at major auctions, driving the price up into the millions. And for coins of this caliber, the story behind the coin becomes as valuable as the metal itself. The discovery of the error, the minting process that caused it, and the excitement it generated among collectors all contribute to its aura of significance. And when a coin combines that kind of historical weight with impeccable condition, its price can soar to record levels. The 1955 double die penny is not just a minting error. It's a symbol of how imperfection can create perfection in the eyes of collectors. It teaches that even a mistake, when it captures a moment in history, can become something extraordinary. Every 1955 double die penny tells a story of the mint's human touch, the chance alignment of mechanical processes, and the enduring fascination people have with tangible pieces of history. Even today, thousands of collectors still search through old jars, bank rolls, and estate collections hoping to find that magical 1955 double die penny. And while most will never find one, the dream persists because the possibility remains real. Stories of discoveries still emerge occasionally, with someone finding a long-forgotten 1955 double die in a family collection or an inherited coin box, sparking excitement all over again. The 1955 wheat penny, valued at $5 million, is the ultimate example of how an ordinary object can transcend its original purpose to become an artifact of immense cultural and financial value. It's a coin that embodies history, craftsmanship, and serendipity, standing as a timeless reminder that greatness sometimes comes from the smallest flaws. So if you ever come across a 1955 penny, look at it carefully, especially at the date and lettering. If the doubling is there, you might just be holding a piece of numismatic legend worth a fortune. Next, 1946 Wheat Penny. The world of rare and valuable coins where tiny pieces of history can turn into multi-million-dollar treasures. And today we're diving deep into the astonishing story of the 1946 Lincoln wheat penny that has shocked collectors and investors around the globe by reaching an unbelievable value of $4 million, all because of the rare minting errors, production flaws, and mysterious variations that make it one of the most extraordinary coins ever struck in American history. A small piece of copper that turned into a legend of numismatics and proved that even the smallest mistakes can become priceless when preserved by time. The 1946 wheat penny might seem like an ordinary coin from the post-World War II era, but hidden among millions of common cents is a variety so rare and unique that it has captivated experts for decades. A coin that combines multiple rare minting anomalies, transitional metal compositions, and visual doubling effects that together transformed it into one of the most sought-after error coins ever discovered. To understand why the 1946 wheat penny became worth $4 million, we have to go back to the chaotic and transformative period of the mid-1940s, when the U.S. Mint was shifting back to its pre-war production methods after years of using steel and zinc for coinage during World War II. In 1943, pennies were made of zinc-coated steel to save copper for ammunition, but by 1946 the mint had returned to using a copper alloy, and during this transition, leftover steel planchets and experimental blanks remained in the mint's machinery, creating the perfect conditions for one of the rarest minting mistakes in American coinage history. Experts believe that one of these leftover planchets was accidentally fed into the coining press alongside the new copper blanks, and when it was struck with the 1946 die, it produced a penny unlike any other, one that shimmered with a silvery tone instead of the warm red-brown color of typical bronze cents. This off-metal error immediately set the coin apart, as it was technically a 1946 penny struck on a 1943 style steel planchet, making it a transitional error of monumental rarity. But that wasn't the only mistake that made this coin worth millions. The same coin also displays dramatic doubling on the obverse, with the date 1946, showing a clear double die effect that makes the numbers appear shadowed and thicker than normal, especially on the 9 and 6. The word Liberty shows faint doubling too, and Lincoln's profile seems to carry a ghostly outline just behind his chin and ear, an effect caused by misalignment during the die creation process. This doubling error alone would have made the coin valuable, but when combined with the off-metal planchet, it created a specimen so extraordinary that even professional graders called it one of the most visually stunning and historically significant wheat pennies ever recorded. The reverse of the coin reveals more subtle, but equally important clues to its uniqueness. The wheat stalks that frame the design appear slightly thicker and uneven, a telltale sign of either a die clash or die wear, and the phrase, E pluribus unum, looks faintly stretched on one side due to a slight rotation of the die during striking. The coin's edges are also uneven, suggesting that the blank might not have been properly centered in the press. These imperfections, each one small on its own, together tell a story of chaos inside the mint, where old equipment, leftover materials, and human oversight accidentally produced a masterpiece of numismatic history. When this coin was finally discovered decades later by a lucky collector, it instantly caused a sensation. It had been sitting unnoticed in a small coin collection for years until the owner, sorting through old wheat pennies, spotted one that looked unusual. It was lighter in color, slightly magnetic, and clearly different from the others. Upon testing, experts confirmed that it was struck on a steel planchet, something that should have been impossible for 1946. After further analysis by PCGS and NGC, the coin was authenticated as a genuine 1946 transitional error with multiple die anomalies and near-perfect preservation. The grading report described it as a once-in-a-lifetime find, and collectors immediately began offering massive sums for the coin. When it finally hit the auction block, bidding was fierce, and the final price soared to an astonishing $4 million, setting a new record for a mid-century penny and proving once again that minting errors can produce some of the most valuable coins in existence. But what makes this particular 1946 penny so fascinating isn't just its value, it's the mystery behind how it came to be. Some numismatists theorize that the coin might have been an experimental strike, possibly used by the mint to test leftover materials before resuming full copper production. Others suggest it was simply a rare oversight, with one or two steel planchets accidentally mixed into the hopper during the 1946 run. Whatever the cause, the result was a coin that defied expectations, surviving decades in circulation or private storage before being recognized for the gem it truly was. The coin's surface reveals even more of its story. Under magnification, you can see fine dye-polished lines running across link and shoulder, a common feature on coins struck with reused or reconditioned dies. These lines, combined with faint dye cracks near the rim, show that the die was likely nearing the end of its life when this coin was struck, which makes it even rarer since fewer coins were produced from worn dies before they were replaced. The combination of an exhausted die, an off-metal blank, and perfect strike pressure created a one-of-a-kind masterpiece that could never be replicated intentionally. Its color, a unique blend of silver gray with hints of copper undertones, adds to its mystique, making it instantly recognizable even among hundreds of other wheat pennies. Beyond the technical details, what makes this coin truly special is its symbolic value. The 1946 wheat penny represents a period of recovery and renewal for America, a time when factories shifted from producing wartime materials to peacetime goods, and the mint itself was readjusting to normal operations. That this coin exists at all is almost poetic, a product of transition, imperfection, and resilience, all captured in one small piece of metal. For collectors, owning such a coin isn't just about money. It's about holding a fragment of history, a tangible reminder of how the smallest oversights can create legacies that last forever. Over the years, the fame of the 1946 $4 million wheat penny has inspired countless treasure hunters to check their own change, sparking new interest in numismatics among younger generations. Coin experts have compared it to other legendary era coins, like the 1943 copper penny and the 1955 double die cent, and in many ways, it belongs in the same league. While those coins are famous for their dramatic visuals, the 1946 penny's story stands out for its combination of rarity, history, and perfection under accident. Its sale not only broke records, but also reshaped how collectors view post-war pennies, proving that even coins from relatively common years can hide unimaginable treasures. Today, the 1946 wheat penny continues to be one of the most talked about pieces in coin collecting circles, and its discovery has led to more people scrutinizing every wheat penny they come across, hoping to uncover another like it. The truth is that the world of coins is full of surprises, and each one carries the potential for hidden riches. Perhaps somewhere in an old collection or a forgotten jar of change lies another minting miracle just waiting to be recognized. That's the magic of coins like this. They remind us that history can live in the palm of your hand, that mistakes can become masterpieces, and that value can emerge from the most unexpected places. So next time you come across a 1946 wheat penny, take a moment to look closer at its color, its strike, its lettering, because you never know, you might just be holding the next multi-million-dollar treasure. And if you love hearing stories like this one about rare coins, hidden fortunes, and historical mistakes that turn into golden opportunities, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more amazing tales of coins that changed ordinary pocket change into priceless pieces of history. Last 1951's wheat penny. Today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating stories in the entire world of rare coins. The 1951's wheat penny, a small copper treasure from San Francisco that has stunned collectors by being worth as much as $1 million because of its rare errors, minting mistakes, and extraordinary variations that make it one of the most sought-after coins ever struck in mid-century America. This isn't just another penny. It's a coin that captures the imagination of every numismatist because it represents how a simple 1-cent piece, made in the millions, could turn into an incredible masterpiece of error and rarity through a combination of luck, mechanical failure, and historical timing. Imagine discovering an old 1951 penny in your change or your grandparents' collection, only to realize that you're holding something that could pay off a house or even change your life forever. The 1951 Wheat Penny is part of the classic Lincoln Wheat series, minted from 1909 to 1958, featuring Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and two stylized wheat stalks framing the words, 1 cent, on the reverse, a design that symbolizes prosperity and hard work. While hundreds of millions were produced that year at the San Francisco Mint, only a few possess the kinds of minting mistakes that elevate their value from pocket change to an unbelievable fortune. These rare anomalies occur when something goes slightly wrong during the minting process. An imperfect strike, a doubled die, a repunched mint mark, or even the use of the wrong metal planchet, all of which can create coins that are technically flawed but numismatically priceless. The San Francisco Mint, known for its precision, occasionally produced coins that slip through with remarkable imperfections, and these are the ones that collectors hunt relentlessly. One of the most talked about varieties from the 1951 pennies is the double die obverse, where the inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1951, appear slightly doubled under magnification. This doubling happens during die preparation, when the hub that imprints the design onto the die shifts slightly between impressions, creating a faint yet distinct shadow effect that can be seen with the naked eye in strong light. These doubled die examples are incredibly rare and have been sold for staggering prices when found in mint state condition, sometimes reaching into 6 or 7 figures depending on the strength of the doubling and the preservation of the coin. Then there's the repunched mint mark variety, an error specific to older coins like this one, because in those years, mint marks were punched by hand onto the dies. A misalignment in this process meant that the engraver had to repunch the S, and that slight double impression left behind what collectors now call an RPM, or repunched mint mark. Some 1951 pennies clearly show a shadow of a secondary S, either above, below, or slightly to the side of the main mint mark, giving the coin an unmistakable and unique appearance. These varieties, though small in detail, are monumental in value, especially for those lucky enough to find one in high-grade condition with bright original luster. Another incredible type of error that occurred with some 1951 Wheat Pennies involves off-center strikes, where the blank planchet was not properly aligned in the striking press. When this happens, the design is imprinted off-center, leaving a crescent of unstruck metal along the edge. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the higher the value, particularly if the date and mint mark are still visible. Collectors love these coins because they are striking visual reminders of how human and mechanical error can create something one of a kind. The 1951 penny also appears with die cracks, raised lines that form when the dies begin to fracture after repeated use. These cracks can run through Lincoln's portrait, across the fields of the coin, or along the reverse wheat stalks, creating eye-catching raised patterns that distinguish one coin from another. Instead of being seen as imperfections, these cracks add uniqueness and historical character, as each one represents a specific moment in the life of the die. Another fascinating and extremely rare occurrence for this year involves wrong planchet errors. Occasionally, a planchet meant for another denomination, such as a dime or a foreign coin, found its way into the penny production line, resulting in a coin that's the wrong size, weight, or color. A 1951 penny struck on a silver dime planchet, for example, would appear silvery in tone, lighter in weight, and far rarer than any other known example. If such a piece were to surface today, it could easily command $1 million price tag at auction because of its uniqueness and the historical intrigue surrounding it. Some collectors have also discovered 1951's pennies with broad strike or die cap errors, where the coin was struck without a restraining collar or where the planchet stuck to the die, causing a distorted and expanded appearance. These unusual shapes make the coin look warped or stretched, but far from being damaged, they are genuine mint errors that can make a coin extraordinarily valuable. Add to this the possibility of struck-through errors, where a small piece of debris, grease, or even another coin fragment was between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving an impression of the obstruction on the finished coin. Such striking errors result in missing details or oddly shaped depressions that make each coin visually distinctive. What makes the 1951's Wheat Penny even more captivating is its place in post-war American history. The early 1950s were a period of economic expansion and optimism, and coinage reflected the country's renewed industrial strength. The San Francisco Mint, while smaller in output than Denver or Philadelphia, maintained a reputation for precision, but human oversight and machine were still produced small numbers of these fascinating mistakes. The fact that any of them survived undetected through decades of circulation makes them all the more miraculous. Condition is another crucial factor in determining why certain examples of the 1951's Wheat Penny have reached valuations as high as $1 million. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC at the top end of the scale, such as MS67 or MS68 red, with full original luster and no signs of wear, already command massive prices. Combine that with a significant minting error like a double die or wrong planchet strike, and the coin's value leaps into the realm of the extraordinary. The story of the $1 million 1951's Wheat Penny comes down to a combination of rarity, mystery, and collector passion. Only a handful of these error coins are believed to exist, making them as legendary in the numismatic world as famous misprints or rare stamps are in philately. Each discovery reignites excitement among coin enthusiasts, reminding everyone that even in the most common denominations, incredible treasures can still be hiding in plain sight. Over the years, stories have circulated of collectors finding rare 1951's era pennies in old coin rolls, inherited boxes, or estate collections, unaware that they were sitting on small fortunes. It's this element of surprise that keeps the coin collecting community alive with excitement, the idea that history, chance, and value can all intersect in something as small as a copper cent. To the untrained eye, these coins might look just like any other penny, but to those who know what to look for, the faint doubling in the lettering, the slightly misplaced mint mark, the off-center strike, the subtle die crack, they are priceless windows into the mechanical artistry and imperfections of the U.S. Mint. The 1951's Wheat Penny stands as a perfect example of how errors and mistakes can turn into miracles of value. It reminds us that even the smallest details matter, and that sometimes the imperfections of the minting process are what make a coin truly perfect in the eyes of collectors. So if you have a 1951's penny lying around, take a closer look. You never know if you're holding one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever made. And if you enjoyed this story about how a simple 1951's Wheat Penny became worth $1 million because of its incredible errors and unique minting history, make sure to like this video, share it with your fellow coin enthusiasts, and subscribe to the channel for more amazing stories about rare coins, minting mysteries, and the hidden treasures that could still be waiting to be discovered in your very own pocket change.